Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're watching. Welcome to the seventh edition's third day of the International Youth Conference. And we're live here from the San Francisco in California. And we are being hosted at the venue of the uh, United Nations Association of the San Francisco. An interesting fact about this venue is that this is the very birthplace of the United Nations when the UN Charter was signed right here in this building on 26 June on 1945. And that also marked the end of the World War II and start of the new era of the peace that we are still somewhat enjoying that. Um, International Youth Conference 7 is a very important conference in terms that the world is going through a transformation. At the UN, we are having the UN Youth Office almost getting set up. And for the first time in the history of the United Nations, we're going to have the UN Youth Office. And the conversation on getting youth involved and having youth included into the decision making process at the UN and elsewhere are getting a big voice. Here at the International Youth Conference 7, this is what exactly we are doing. We are having conversation on how youth should get involved into the decision making table, and not just at the decision making table, how they can get involved into the other process. Yes, we do talk about decision making process, that's absolutely important, but they have to be part of the planning, they have to be part of the monitoring, they have to be part of the evaluation, they have to be part of everything, because the world's population right now is 1.9 people, 1.9 billion young people are under the age of 24. And global south, especially focusing on the global south, the 85% population of global south is under the age of 30, which is a huge number of a population. That is 4.5 billion people in global south are under the age of 30. So having these conversations, especially focused on the global south, we have people and delegates and ambassadors watching from all around the world, especially in global south. And this conversation is really important. We have to turn this conversation into action, like at every international youth conference, we have the conversation and then we turn it into action. So the seventh edition is also going to be exactly like this, that we are going to turn these conversations, what we are having here, into the action. Moving forward, I would like to thank Ms. Mary to host us and give us the opportunity to host the International Youth Conference here in San Francisco. And she is the president of the UNA USA San Francisco chapter. And without her support, we're not able to conduct this, organize this beautiful conversation that we are organizing. So I would like to give the floor to Ms. Mary so she can also give her thoughts and opening keynote. Mary.
Thank you very much, Ali Mustafa. We are so amazed and excited about your leadership and the goals of the International Youth Conference. We want to support you any way we can, as we are an intergenerational organization, and we do want to provide support in terms of skill building, in terms of networking, mentoring, and just providing community. This International Youth Conference and other youth organizations are a priority of our organization, as we provide a platform for partnerships to achieve the 2030 Agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals. We also are feeling a very strong responsibility, as we are the host chapter here in San Francisco for conferences and for education about how the UN works and what about its goals, how may we impact the UN. So we have a number of programs, and you may be aware that we have very many international virtual events on our Facebook page. We're looking forward to a partnership in advancing those high-quality panels of experts about such topics as peace and security, sustainable development, and also we want to have more programs about human rights and humanitarian affairs. Our next event is our signature event. It's UN Charter Day, and it will be the 78th anniversary. We'll celebrate it virtually with a panel about the transformation of power of the Secretary General. Now that we are looking at the change in geopolitical influence in the United Nations, we are looking forward, not just backward, about the future of the UN and the role of civil society, especially the North-South and South-South relationships. So we are also planning UN Day, and that will also feature youth, and we will be also working in connection with the APEC conference in November, and also with the humanitarian agencies that exist in Geneva. Human Rights Day, it is the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We're so very proud of an American leader, Eleanor Roosevelt. She was the first lady with Franklin Delano Roosevelt. It was Franklin Delano Roosevelt's vision that the United Nations was created. And Eleanor was his partner. She was called a woman of all seasons. And we will look into her leadership style and the strengths and the reasons why she was such a success in getting 50 nations to approve of a Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It's the most popular UN document. It's been translated into at least 465 languages. Also negotiation. What are the real factors to successful, peaceful negotiations in such countries as Afghanistan, Syria, Sudan, Myanmar? How can we negotiate with civil society? And most importantly, utilize the principles of the Sustainable Development Goals. So we welcome you. We hope that you'll be able to join us. We're planning on the 80th anniversary, just 2 years away, here in San Francisco at this very historic location. It's also where the Ramaytush Ohlone people had their settlements. It's unceded territory, and we work very closely here in the city with the indigenous people who also reside here. So thank you again, Ali, for including us. I would like to mention that Sustainable Development Goals are still alive, and I mentioned that we provide a platform. I'd like Jessica Lee to point out and just run down those goals, just to remind us about how we might resume the achievement of these goals by 2030. Jessica Lee.
Yes, thank you. So goal number 1, we have no poverty. Goal number 2, we have zero hunger. Goal number 3, we have good health and well-being. Goal number 4, we have quality education. Goal number 5, we have gender equality. Goal number 6, we have clean water and sanitation. And goal number 7, we have affordable and clean energy. Goal number 8, we have decent work and economic growth. Goal number 9, we have industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Goal number 10, we have reduced inequalities. And goal number 11, we have sustainable cities and communities. Goal number 12, we have responsible consumption and production. And goal number 13, we have climate action. Goal number 14, we have light below water. Goal number 15, we have light on land. Goal number 17, goal number 16, we have peace, justice, and strong institutions. Then finally, the most important, goal number 17, partnerships for the goals, which sums up all of these 17 sustainable development goals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And we remind you that we are here. You can find us on our Facebook page, United Nations Association, San Francisco, as well as Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We will be looking forward to having you follow us so that we can keep you up to date with these programs as they evolve. And we will also hope that you can join us in person for future events here in San Francisco. I turn it back to Ali. Thank you again, Ali.
Thank you so much, Mary. So we definitely, and I would really like to appreciate that you welcomed us and hosted us here. And we look forward to have more of such future conversation here in San Francisco in partnership with the UNA USA San Francisco chapter. And I really appreciate the effort. I mean, this the collaboration, the intergenerational collaboration is really important for the future of the world, especially the peaceful future of the world and the sustainable, peaceful future of the world. And we definitely look forward to work with you more. And for everyone online and who are joining us from everywhere around the world, stay tuned for the whole day as we have so many sessions today on different topics, and we have a good lineup of a speaker joining us today for you. Thank you so much.
So if you have a little more time, Ali,
Yeah.
I'd like to talk with you a little bit about how you got started as a youth, to take on to have this global vision, and a little more about how organizations like the United Nations Association can be a good partner for what you're doing and what youth are doing.
So, first question, how we started with the International Youth Conference and the UN. I mean, I belong to that part of the world that we, as a young person, we just seen so many different problems facing. The lack of inequality is there even here or wherever we are. And then we see a lot of problems going on. We see the problem in the terms of peace and security, in terms of the terrorism. We see the problem in face of hunger, poverty, and missing of a lot of resources and everything. So I decided, I was not alone, the whole team, that we decided that we have a problem and we have to do something about it, and we have to have the young people talking about it. And we knew that the solution of the problem is not possible without us getting involved and getting involved into solving our own problem. When we went out talking about our own problem, then we are joined by the thousands other people that we are a big number of community today. We call ourselves the nation of youth, as we are in large number as our members, or I would say the ambassadors of the International Youth Conference, or the delegates of the International Youth Conference are thousands and thousands in number. And that's how we basically started in the youth activism. But then the International Youth Conference itself was formed in 2019 as a result of the 68th United Nations Civil Society Conference, and I was the co-chair for the Youth Planning Committee of the UN Civil Society Conference taking place in Salt Lake City in Utah. So the International Youth Conference was part of the outcome of that conference, that we need to have a conversation where we can involve young people from Global South and elsewhere who are not able to travel and attend these conferences in person, but they need to be somehow part of the system and part of the conversation. At that time, we did not have the concept of going remote. And we were the first, I would say that at the UN, the first conference or the first platform that we started organizing the International Youth Conference with the help of UN Department of Global Communications and UN Habitat. And when we started, we joined. Surprisingly, we were welcomed and joined by the youth from all around the world in big numbers. And because the concept is we are actually taking the agenda of the UN in their local culture, in their local languages, in the way they want, at their doorsteps. We have reached out to the places where they do not have heard about the name of the United Nations at all. They don't know what UN is. They don't know what UN Sustainable Development Goal is, and they're facing a lot of problems. And then we, not us, but our team members, they reached out to the communities who are really rural. They do not have electricity, they do not have internet, they, some of the people, they do not even have the proper school inside the wall. Their school is right outside in their village under some big tree. So we have been able to reach them out and able to tell them what the UN is and tell them what the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are. And that's the second part of your question, how the organization like UNA, United Nations Association, can help us is like exactly what you're doing right now with us, providing us with the support and helping us with everything you have. And this is something that you have done. I mean, we need to have more collaboration. We need to have more conversations, and especially I mentioned about the intergenerational part of the collaboration that is really important. And I would say that the organizations like you are the resources that we need to mobilize. We need to identify more resources like you, people like you, the organizations like you. And because you have the experience, you have seen the world more than I do, so you can definitely tell the young people like what are the good ways of doing things. And we are happy to follow the lead that you are giving us and take it forward and give it and pass it to our another generation. So that how it's supposed to be done.
Well, we really admire your energy and your commitment, most of all. It's a daring act, but it shows that you have the mindset and
Yes.
you understand the situation. So how other UNAs, I'll let you know a little more about the United Nations Association. And it's a long-established organization founded in 1943. And it's a member of the World Federation of United Nations Associations. And they are based in Geneva and New York. And they are also a large number, and each nation is allowed one United Nations association. So there are small countries that have one chapter. The United States has 225 chapters. Wow. And many of those chapters, perhaps 50% of those chapters, are on university campuses. These are students. So I think that is another way we could give a connection to
Yes.
the students on university campuses who have perhaps more resources, and link those students up with other countries who lack the resources and we might call those developing, right? Linking up the developing countries with the less developed countries. The protection of indigenous rights is very important to us, and we need to think about that. For example, how did you approach the young people in these areas where there is no internet, maybe cell phones? How did you actually make that connection?
So we have the ambassadors, we call them the IYC alumni or the ambassadors who are part of our community. And we actually told them that we need to reach out the other people who are not reached out yet, who are, I think, are isolated from the global conversation that we're having. We may have some solution for them. So they did the outreach. They've traveled to the villages, they traveled to the places with they knew that there is no electricity or something. So they made the handwritten cardboards in the local languages explaining what the UN is. We have the pictures. We will show the pictures tomorrow at the last day of such projects where they went out. And really, I would say that the indigenous communities in Africa, Asia, and elsewhere, that they reached out, and they have those play cards where the SDGs are written in their local languages, and they were explaining them with the example of their local language. And so that's how we were able to reach out, that they traveled in person, talked about it, made the videos, showed us, and then took our further message to them. And we are able to involve many of the young people at the conversation at the UN, providing our platform. We give them the opportunity to speak and sit at the table at the ECOSOC Youth Forum and the high-level political forum at the United Nations, and then some of the side events that took place last year during the UN General Assembly. So we were able to include them somehow.
Well, in sum, I admire greatly what you're doing. And I had another thought as you were talking about this. We initiated the global consultations for the 75th anniversary, where we met with 8 sectors of San Francisco, teenagers, children, youth, and young professionals, tech and business, government, civil society, to name a few. And there were 3 questions. What would you want for your future? And what would you want from the United Nations to achieve what you want? And what are you going to do about it? So those questions were put together in a narrative, and they were transcribed. They are on our una-sf.org website. And this is something we might want to consider, this methodology. It's using the World Cafe. And I understand the United Nations uses this process. It can take a minimum of 3 hours with 3 questions. So there are a number of ways where we can also have a collective narrative, as it were, of what's on the top of our heads. What is our level of consciousness? We were shocked at the areas that we thought would be covered weren't covered. For example, everybody has climate change on their mind, but instead they were focused on housing issues, poverty issues. And it gave us an idea of where to start in terms of how we're going to reach everyone. So we'll look forward to having you join us on the live streaming. We'll be following you on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter for live streaming. And we're just so thrilled with what you're doing here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for including us.
Thank you for hosting us. That's really important. Thank you so much.